inside out, a gentle heat spreading through her chest as she gazes out the window at the waking world. The damp air clings to the glass, blurring the outlines of the trees and houses outside, giving everything a dreamy quality that perfectly matches the lingering haze of sleep still hovering in her mind. On this particular morning, as soft clouds drift lazily overhead, Lily can feel something special brewing in the air, a whisper of magic that dances just out of reach, teasing her imagination. She takes another sip, savoring the moment, and allows her thoughts to drift back to the bakery, a place that feels like an extension of herself, where every loaf of bread, every pastry, holds a story waiting to be told. After finishing her tea, she stands up, her slippers padding softly against the cool wooden floor. With a practiced hand, she gathers her apron from the hook by the door, tying it snugly around her waist. Today, she has plans to experiment. She can almost hear the gentle clinking of mixing bowls and the comforting thrum of the oven warming up. The bakery, Lily's rainy day bakery, is more than just a business. It's a sanctuary for her and the community. With its warm, inviting scent of freshly baked goods wafting through the air, it becomes a refuge for anyone seeking warmth and comfort on a chilly day. She thinks of the regulars who will soon fill the seats, the laughter and conversation that swirl around like the flour in her mixing bowl. As she steps outside, the air greets her like an old friend, cool and invigorating. She adjusts her woolen hat against the slight breeze, and her heart swells with gratitude for this little corner of the world. The path to the bakery is lined with trees shedding their leaves, each step crunching softly underfoot. The earth, rich and damp, smells of promise, of new beginnings and stories yet to unfold. Suddenly, a flicker of movement draws her gaze to the side of the road where a small, scruffy dog sits, its coat ruffled by the wind. Its big brown eyes meet hers, filled with a soulful curiosity that makes her chuckle. "Well, hello there," she calls softly, crouching down to meet the little creature at eye level. "Are you lost?" The dog tilts its head as if considering her question, then hops closer, tail wagging tentatively. Lily's heart melts at the sight. "Come on then, let's get you some food," she says, her mind already racing with ideas of how to help this newfound friend. It feels fitting, she thinks, that today's adventure begins not just in the bakery, but with a little unexpected companion by her side. With the dog trotting happily beside her, they make their way to the bakery, where the day's magic awaits, ready to unfold in ways she could hardly imagine. Lily crouched down, her apron dusted with flour, to meet the scruffy dog's curious gaze. The little creature's ears perked up as if it had just discovered a long-lost friend. "Hey there, buddy," she cooed, extending her hand gently. The dog sniffed her fingers, and she felt a flicker of connection, a shared understanding of adventure and perhaps a hint of mischief. Just then the gentle pitter-patter of rain began to whisper against the cobblestone streets, wrapping the town in a soft embrace. Lily glanced up, the sky a tapestry of moody grays and blues, and suddenly felt a rush of inspiration. "How about we see if you can help me with something special today?" She stood brushing her hands against her apron and beckoned for the dog to follow her. As they walked briskly to Rainy Day Bakery, the smell of fresh bread and sweet pastries hung in the air like an invitation. The bell above the door jingled cheerfully as they entered, and Lily's heart swelled with a sense of belonging. She glanced down at her new companion, who had perked up, sniffing at the delightful scents around him. "Welcome to Rainy Day Bakery, little one," she declared, and the dog wagged his tail as if he understood the warmth of her welcome. Lily quickly got to work, envisioning a new creation that would bring smiles to her customers' faces. "Today we're going to make something extraordinary," she said, pulling out flour, sugar, and an assortment of fruits. The idea struck her suddenly. A rainy day delight, a cake infused with the essence of the season, layered with berry compote and whipped cream, all topped with a drizzle of honey. As she mixed the batter, the dog watched intently from a cozy corner. "What should we call you?" she pondered aloud, tapping her chin thoughtfully. "Scruff? No." "How about Pippin? You look like a pippin to me." The dog's ears perked up at his new name, as if he were claiming the identity with pride. Just as she poured the batter into the cake pans, a familiar voice chimed in from the doorway. "Lily?" "Is that a new friend I see?" It was Mrs. Henderson, the town's beloved librarian, her eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Meet Pippin. He's lost, and I'm hoping we can find his owner," Lily replied, her heart warmed by the sudden influx of community. "Oh, what a charming little fellow. I've seen him wandering about the library's garden, Mrs. Henderson exclaimed, kneeling to pet Pippin, who responded with a delighted bark. "You know, there's something magical about lost things finding their way home. You might just be the one to help him." Inspired by Mrs. Henderson's words, Lily decided to add a special twist to her cake. She would bake a small treat for Pippin, a batch of dog-friendly biscuits infused with peanut butter and oats. "We'll make sure he has a little something to enjoy while we figure this out," she said, her spirit lifted by the delightful turn of events. As the cakes baked and the scent of warm bread filled the air, the bakery buzzed with excitement. Customers began to trickle in, greeted by the sight of Pippin, who now lounged comfortably on a pile of flour sacks, a king in his domain. His antics soon drew laughter from the patrons, weaving a thread of joy that connected everyone in the room. With each slice of her new creation, Lily found herself not only sharing delicious treats but also stories of Pippin's adventures, each tale bringing the community closer. And as the rain continued to fall softly outside, she felt a spark of magic in the air, a reminder that sometimes unexpected detours lead to the sweetest discoveries. Before the day ended, a young girl rushed into the bakery, her eyes wide with excitement. "I was looking for you. Pippin is my dog," she exclaimed, breathless from her sprint. Lily's heart soared at the sight of the girl's joy. "Well, it seems like we've found his home after all," she said, smiling as Pippin leapt from his spot, tail wagging furiously as he bounded toward the girl. The bakery erupted in applause, the warmth of community wrapping around them like a snug blanket. And as the sun peeked through the last of the rain clouds outside, Lily realized that every day at Rainy Day Bakery held the promise of something magical waiting just around the corner. As the rain continued to patter softly against the window panes of Rainy Day Bakery, Lily arranged the last of the colorful dog-friendly biscuits in a small basket. The warm scent of vanilla and honey mingled with the earthy aroma of fresh bread, wrapping the bakery in an embrace that felt like home. Pippin, now settled comfortably beneath the counter, watched eagerly as Lily prepared for the day's customers. The bell above the door jingled cheerfully, announcing the arrival of Mrs. Henderson, her umbrella dripping water onto the tiled floor. She shook it off and smiled brightly at Lily, her spectacles perched precariously on her nose. "Lily, my dear, what a lovely sight it is to see so many happy faces today," she exclaimed, eyeing the basket of biscuits. Have you decided on a name for that delightful cake you were dreaming up? Lily chuckled, wiping her hands on her apron. I think I'll call it the Cake of Lost Things. It's meant to celebrate all the little things that find their way back to us, like Pippin here. Mrs. Henderson's eyes twinkled and she nodded appreciatively. What a beautiful sentiment. You know, this bakery has become a gathering place for so many. It's almost like a library of flavors and stories. Just then, a gust of wind blew through the door as a familiar customer, Mr. Thompson, entered, his cheeks flushed from the cold. He shook droplets from his scarf and grinned. Good morning, ladies. What's the special today? As Lily served him a slice of freshly baked pumpkin spice cake, she felt a sense of warmth swell in her heart. The bakery buzzed with life as more customers trickled in, each one greeted like an old friend. Laughter and conversation filled the air, blending with the soft notes of a jazz record playing in the background. After a while, Pippin perked up, his ears twitching as the door swung open again. A young girl no older than 10 rushed in, her cheeks bright with excitement. Pippin! There you are, she squealed, running to embrace the scruffy dog who leapt into her arms. Lily watched the joyful reunion and felt a flutter of happiness. I can see he's found his way home just like we hoped, she said to Mrs. Henderson, who was now sipping tea by the window. But before the moment could settle, the girl turned and approached Lily, her expression suddenly serious. Thank you for taking care of him, she said earnestly. I thought I'd lost him forever. I was so worried. Oh, it was my pleasure. Pippin is a wonderful little companion, Lily replied, kneeling down to the girl's level. What's your name? Annie, she said, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. I live just down the street. My dad said we should put up posters, but I didn't think I'd ever find him again. Just then, Mrs. Henderson leaned in, her voice gentle but full of whimsy. You know, Annie, sometimes things come back to us in the most unexpected ways. Like a book you thought you'd lost only to find it on the shelf again, or a dog that brings joy to your heart. Annie's brow furrowed in thought. I want to help more lost things find their way home, just like Pippin did. An idea sparked in Lily's mind. What if we organized a little event right here at the bakery? We could invite the community to bring their lost items. Maybe we could even have a lost and found day with stories and treats. Annie clapped her hands with glee, and soon the bakery was filled with excited chatter as Lily shared her idea. The warmth of connection enveloped everyone, igniting a collective sense of purpose and joy. As the rain continued to fall outside, Lily felt the magic in the air grow even stronger. She could almost see the threads of stories weaving together, a tapestry of lost and found, of community and connection. With each passing moment, she realized that Rainy Day Bakery was not just a place for baked goods. It was a sanctuary for lost things, both tangible and intangible, to find their way home. And with that thought, she began jotting down plans for the special event, her heart swelling with excitement for what was to come. As the sun peeked through the clouds the following morning, casting a golden glow over the cobblestone streets, Lily awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. She glanced at the calendar hanging on the wall of her tiny kitchen and smiled at the big red circle around the date. Today was the day of her Lost and Found Day at the Rainy Day Bakery. With a spring in her step, she hurried to the bakery, Pippin trotting happily beside her, his tail wagging like a little metronome. The familiar scent of freshly baked bread and sweet pastries greeted her as she opened the door, the bell jingling cheerfully above. Lily had prepared a special treat for the day, a batch of fluffy blueberry muffins, each one topped with a sprinkle of sugar that glistened like tiny jewels. As the morning progressed, the bakery began to fill with eager customers. The warm ambience was electrified by the laughter of children and the excited chatter of people sharing stories of lost items they hoped to find. Mrs. Henderson, ever the enthusiastic supporter, had brought along a few of her library's lost and found treasures: a half-burned candle, a forgotten book, and a mismatched sock, each with its own quirky tale. "Good morning, dear Mrs. Henderson greeted, her cheeks rosy from the morning chill. "I brought my offerings as promised. I thought we could start with a story for each item. Who knows? Perhaps one of them will resonate with someone here." Lily clapped her hands in delight. "What a wonderful idea. Let's set up a cozy little corner in the bakery for storytelling. We can call it the Story Nook." With a few cushions from her home and a colorful quilt that had been passed down through generations, they transformed a small corner into a charming reading space. Soon children gathered, eyes wide with anticipation as Mrs. Henderson began to weave tales of lost treasures and magical reunions. Pippin, ever the charmer, curled up next to the quilt, attracting the attention of the little ones who reached out to pet him. As the stories flowed, Lily noticed a shy girl in the back of the bakery, clutching a tattered teddy bear with a missing button eye. Her name was Clara, and she had come to the bakery with her mother, who was trying to coax her into joining the festivities. Lily approached them, her heart warming at the sight of the girl's hopeful expression. "Hello there. I see you brought your teddy bear." "What's his name?" Lily asked, kneeling down to Clara's level. "His name is Mr. Snuggles," Clara murmured, her eyes darting to the floor. "Mr. Snuggles? What a lovely name." "Do you think he might have lost something along the way?" Lily encouraged, remembering the themes of connection and community that had sparked her event. Clara nodded slowly, her voice barely a whisper. "He lost his button." Lily mused. "How about we have a button-finding contest? Everyone can search for a button to help Mr. Snuggles, and if we find one, we can have a special treat." Lily's suggestion lit up Clara's face, and soon the bakery was abuzz with excitement. Customers began rummaging through their pockets, purses, and bags, searching for spare buttons. Laughter filled the air as a few adventurous souls even ventured outside, hoping to find buttons on the cobblestone streets. Amid the joyful chaos, Lily noticed a familiar figure standing outside, peering through the window. It was Annie, her cheeks pressed against the glass, eyes wide with wonder. Lily waved her in, and soon the young girl was enveloped in the warmth of the bakery once more. "Did you find Pippin?" Lily asked, her heart racing with curiosity. Annie nodded, a broad smile spreading across her face. "Yes. He was in the garden chasing butterflies. Mom said I could come back to visit whenever I want." "Wonderful. We're having a button-finding contest. Would you like to join us?" Lily invited, her enthusiasm infectious. As the day wore on, the bakery filled with laughter, stories, and the delightful aroma of baked goods. Each found button was celebrated like a little victory, and Clara's joy upon discovering a bright red button from the bottom of her bag was contagious, inspiring others to cheer for her. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Lily looked around at her bustling bakery filled with friends, laughter, and the warmth of community. She realized that sometimes lost things, whether they were dogs, buttons, or even friends, could lead to the most beautiful reunions and connections, much like the rain that nourished the earth to bloom anew. "Here's to lost things finding their way home," Lily declared, raising her muffin in a toast. The bakery erupted in cheers, and for a moment the world felt perfectly magical. As the sun began to set the following week, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, the rainy day bakery buzzed with energy once again. Lily had decided that the success of Lost and Found Day warranted a follow-up event, and she called it Found Treasures Night. This time, the theme would revolve around the concept of hidden gems within the community, those items and stories that often went unnoticed, yet held significant meaning for the individuals who owned them. Lily hung colorful lanterns from the bakery's windows, casting a warm glow that beckoned passers-by to step inside. The inviting scent of freshly baked cookies and warm spices filled the air, a delightful hint of what was to come. Pippin, ever the enthusiastic greeter, wagged his tail as guests arrived, his scruffy fur a delightful contrast to the polished wooden floors of the bakery. Mrs. Henderson, always the first to arrive, brought with her an antique music box that had belonged to her late mother. "It may not look like much, dear, but it plays the sweetest melody. I thought it would be nice to share its song tonight," she said, gently winding it up and letting the delicate notes dance through the air. The sound filled the bakery like a cherished memory, wrapping everyone in nostalgia. Annie, with her sparkling eyes, had an idea that she could hardly contain. "Can we have a story corner?" she asked, bouncing on her toes, her excitement palpable. "I want everyone to tell their stories about what made these treasures special." Lily beamed at her enthusiasm, knowing that Annie's passion for connecting lost things with their stories would add a unique layer to the night. As the sun dipped lower, Clara arrived shyly, clutching Mr. Snuggles tightly. She had brought along a small, dusty photo album that belonged to her grandmother. "These are pictures of her life before she moved here," Clara whispered, her voice barely above a hush. "I think it would be nice to share them." Lily nodded, understanding the weight of Clara's offering. "Each item carries a piece of the heart, Clara. Tonight, we will celebrate those pieces." With a warm smile, she encouraged Clara to place the album on the front table, where it gleamed under the soft lights. As the evening unfolded, the bakery transformed into a tapestry of stories. Each guest shared tales of their treasures. There was a vintage compass from a traveling uncle that always pointed the way home, a faded love letter that held promises of a lifetime, and a small rusty key that unlocked memories of childhood adventures. As the last story was told, Lily gathered everyone's attention. "Now let's make our own treasure together," she announced, pulling out a large blank canvas and a set of colorful paints. "Let's create a mural that represents our stories. Each of us will paint a symbol of our treasure, and in the end, we will have something beautiful that embodies our connections." Pippin barked in agreement, and the guests cheered, their hesitation washed away in the glow of camaraderie. Laughter and chatter filled the bakery once more as people dipped brushes into paint, their faces lighting up with creativity. As the canvas filled with vibrant colors and symbols, a sense of unity enveloped the room, a reminder that even lost things could become treasured memories when shared. Just as the night reached its peak, a heavy rain began to patter against the windows, creating a rhythmic soundtrack to the festivities. The cozy ambiance heightened as guests leaned closer, sharing laughter and stories through the sound of the rain. And then, Just as Lily was about to add her own symbol to the mural, the door swung open with a soft chime. A figure stood silhouetted against the dim light from the street. It was a man, drenched from the rain, holding something carefully in his hands. The bakery fell silent as the man stepped forward, revealing a small, drenched dog shivering in his arms. "My name is Oliver," he said, his voice shaky yet hopeful. "I found this little guy wandering the streets. I think he may be lost." Lily's heart raced as she recognized the dog, a small, scruffy terrier with a distinct patch over one eye. Pippin bounded forward, tail wagging as if magnetically drawn to the newcomer. "Yes." "That's Benny," Annie exclaimed, her eyes wide with recognition. "He's my neighbor's dog." They've been looking for him everywhere. With the bakery once again alive with excitement, Lily felt the warmth of the community surround her. The joy of reunions was not just a theme for the night, it was the very essence of the Rainy Day Bakery, a place where lost things, whether they be objects or hearts, could always find their way home. "Let's celebrate Benny's return," Lily declared, her heart swelling with the spirit of the evening. "Who wants a slice of the cake of lost things to honor our reunion?" As laughter erupted and the cake was cut, the atmosphere brimmed with the magic of connection. The rain continued to fall, but inside the bakery it felt like sunshine had returned, bringing warmth, laughter, and endless possibilities. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow through the rain-speckled windows of the Rainy Day Bakery, Lily prepared for the next event that promised to weave yet another thread into the fabric of their tight-knit community. She had decided to host an inspiration evening where guests could come together to share their dreams and aspirations over warm mugs of cocoa and freshly baked pastries. The aroma of cinnamon and vanilla filled the air as Lily arranged pastel-colored sticky notes on the large wooden table at the center of the bakery. Each note was designed for guests to jot down their dreams, which they would later pin to a bulletin board adorned with twinkling fairy lights. The anticipation was palpable, and Lily felt a surge of excitement as she imagined the stories that would unfold. As the clock struck 6, Clara arrived, her confidence blossoming with each visit to the bakery. Today she clutched not only Mr. Snuggles, but also a bright blue notebook, the cover adorned with colorful stickers. "I'm ready to share," she announced, a grin spreading across her face. "Wonderful, Clara. I can't wait to hear what you've got in store," Lily replied warmly, her heart swelling with pride for the shy girl who was finding her voice. Annie bounded in next, her hair bouncing with each step. "Lily, guess what? I've been talking to my mom about starting a book club," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I think it could be a fantastic way to connect with everyone." "That's a brilliant idea, Annie. We can even host it right here," Lily suggested, thrilled at the prospect of yet another community-building endeavor. As the evening progressed, the bakery filled with familiar faces. Mrs. Henderson arrived, her hands clutching a vintage brooch that she had worn for decades. "This here is my wish button," she said, her voice imbued with nostalgia. "Whenever I wear it, I remember to follow my dreams and not let the small setbacks bring me down." "I can't wait to share its story." Just then, Oliver entered, Benny trotting happily beside him. "Sorry I'm late. I had to take Benny for a quick walk," he chuckled, ruffling the dog's fur. "I couldn't leave my best buddy behind." As the night unfolded, laughter filled the bakery, mingling with the sweet scent of baked goods. Guests shared their aspirations, from starting a garden to pursuing a lifelong passion for painting. Clara took a deep breath, her heart racing as she stood up to speak. "I want to write stories," she announced, her voice firm yet soft. "Stories about friendship and adventures, and maybe one about Mr. Snuggles." The room erupted in cheers and supportive claps, and Clara beamed, her confidence soaring. With each story shared, the dreams pinned to the board grew, forming a colorful tapestry of hopes and aspirations. Lily watched in awe as the magic of connection unfolded before her eyes, the bakery transforming into a sanctuary of dreams. Suddenly, a soft knock echoed through the bakery's door. It creaked open to reveal a new face, a tall girl with curly hair and a wistful expression. "I'm sorry to intrude, but I saw the lights and the laughter," she said shyly. "I'm new in town, and I guess I could use a little inspiration." Lily smiled warmly at the newcomer, her heart welcoming her into the fold. "You're in the right place. Come join us. Tonight, we're all about sharing dreams." As the girl stepped inside, a sense of belonging enveloped her, and Lily knew that this evening would not only inspire but also weave yet another thread into the vibrant tapestry of the Rainy Day Bakery's community. Together, they would nurture each dream, fostering connections that would last long after the cocoa cups were empty and the pastries consumed. As the rain drizzled outside, creating a soothing rhythm against the large glass windows of the Rainy Day Bakery, Lily prepared for the much-anticipated inspiration evening. She arranged colorful cushions in a semicircle around a cozy corner, adorned with twinkling fairy lights that flickered like stars. The scent of freshly baked blueberry muffins mingled with the earthy aroma of coffee, creating an inviting atmosphere that welcomed both old friends and newcomers. Annie bounced in, her enthusiasm palpable as she carried a large hand-painted sign that read, "Inspiration Evening, Share Your Dreams," in cheerful, swirly letters. "Lily, this is going to be magical," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling. "I can't wait to hear what everyone has in mind." Just then Clara entered, her photo album tucked securely under her arm. Though still a bit shy, the warmth of the bakery and its community had started to wrap around her like a comforting blanket. "I'm going to share my dream tonight," she whispered to Lily, her voice barely above the sound of the rain. Lily beamed at Clara. "That's wonderful. Your stories are always so lovely. I know everyone will want to hear them." As the evening approached, the bakery began to fill with familiar faces and new guests. Oliver strolled in, Benny trotting proudly beside him, his tail wagging like a flag on a sunny day. He had taken to the bakery life with gusto, often taking it upon himself to greet newcomers with a friendly bark and a wag. "Hey everyone, ready to be inspired?" Oliver called, a grin spreading across his face as he settled into a chair, Benny flopping down beside him. The warmth of community wrapped around them all as laughter and chatter filled the room. As the evening progressed, each participant took turns sharing their dreams. Annie spoke of wanting to become an author, her eyes shining as she recounted her story ideas. Clara, finally gaining the courage, shared her dream of becoming a photographer, using her grandmother's past as inspiration. Just as Lily was about to share her own dream of expanding the bakery into a cozy bookstore filled with stories waiting to be discovered, the door swung open, allowing a gust of wind and a new face to enter. A tall, bespectacled woman named Margaret stepped inside, shaking off raindrops from her umbrella. "Excuse me, is this the Rainy Day Bakery?" she asked, her voice slightly muffled under her scarf. The room hushed and all eyes turned to her. "It is," Lily replied warmly, stepping forward. "Welcome." We were just sharing our dreams for the future. Margaret's cheeks flushed with surprise, and a shy smile crept across her face. I didn't mean to interrupt. I just moved here and was looking for a place to get out of the rain. But dreams, you say? I have a few of my own. Encouraged by the friendly atmosphere, Margaret joined the circle, sharing her dream of creating a community garden that could bring neighbors together. As she spoke, Clara felt a surge of inspiration, her own dream of photography blossoming with new ideas of capturing the garden's beauty. As the evening flowed on, Pippin, ever the friendly companion, made her rounds, snuggling up to guests and basking in the affection lavished upon her. Benny, sensing the camaraderie, joined in, playfully nudging Pippin with his nose, their tails wagging in perfect harmony. Suddenly, a loud clap of thunder rumbled outside, startling everyone for a moment. Lily chuckled. "Looks like even the clouds are excited for our dreams." With a shared laugh, they continued to weave their visions together, the rain outside a gentle reminder of the beauty that can emerge after a storm. As the evening drew to a close, Oliver stood up, raising his cup of coffee. "How about we promise to support each other's dreams? No matter how big or small, we can make them happen together." Everyone nodded, their hearts swelling with the promise of connection. That night, under the glow of the fairy lights, they not only shared their dreams, but also planted the seeds of friendship that would grow long after the rain had stopped. The Rainy Day Bakery had become more than a place for baked goods. It was a sanctuary for dreams and a community bound by the stories that flowed like the rain outside. As the vibrant chatter of the inspiration evening began to fade, the rain outside continued its gentle percussion against the bakery windows, providing a soothing backdrop to the warmth within. The soft glow of the fairy lights twinkled like stars in a misty sky, casting a comforting hue over the room. Lily stood behind the counter, wiping down surfaces, her heart full from the connections forged that evening. "Did you see Clara's face when she talked about her stories?" Annie exclaimed as she helped stack leftover pastries into a neat pile. "She looked like she could take flight," Lily chuckled, glancing over at Clara, who was animatedly discussing her latest story idea with Oliver, while Benny, oblivious to the conversation, sniffed around for crumbs. "I think Clara's going to surprise herself," Lily replied, her eyes sparkling with warmth. "It's incredible how sharing our dreams can ignite a spark in others." Annie nodded enthusiastically, her thoughts racing as she envisioned the book club she longed to start. "What if we organize a writing workshop next? We could invite Clara to lead it." "I bet it would help her gain even more confidence." Lily considered this, her mind racing with possibilities. "That's a wonderful idea. We could turn the upstairs loft into a cozy writing nook, complete with comfy cushions and a hot chocolate bar. It'll be a perfect way to bring everyone together." Just then, Mrs. Henderson shuffled in from the back room, her kind eyes twinkling like the lights overhead. "Did I hear someone mention a writing workshop?" she asked, her voice warm and inviting. "Yes," Annie said, her excitement palpable. "We want Clara to lead it. It'll be such a great way to support her and inspire others." Mrs. Henderson nodded thoughtfully, her gaze drifting toward Clara, who had just shared a laugh with Oliver. "You know, when I was Clara's age, I had a dream of writing too," she said, her fingers gently tracing the edge of her old leather purse. "I wrote stories about adventures in distant lands, but I never had the courage to share them. If only I had someone to guide me. Lily stepped forward, inspired by Mrs. Henderson's words. Well, it's never too late to start. I think we should create a safe space here at the bakery where everyone can share their stories, no matter how big or small. Let's make it a monthly event, Story Saturday. Who's in? I'm in, Annie shouted, her enthusiasm echoing in the bakery. Imagine the stories we could share. Count me in too, Oliver added, scratching Benny behind the ears. I'd love to hear everyone's tales. Clara, feeling a rush of support envelop her, looked around at her friends, her heart swelling. I would love to lead the workshop, but I might need some guidance too, she admitted shyly, her voice barely above a whisper. Of course, Clara. We'll all help each other out, Lily reassured her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. This is what community is all about, lifting each other up. The rain began to taper off, and the scent of fresh pastries lingered in the air like promises waiting to be fulfilled. Just then, the bell above the bakery door chimed, and in walked Margaret, her face glowing with excitement. Lily, she called, her voice brimming with energy. You won't believe what I just discovered. Everyone turned to her, curiosity piqued. I was talking to Mrs. Thompson at the library, and she mentioned an empty lot near the park that the town owns. It's a perfect spot for a community garden. If we pitch the idea to the town council, we could start planting as early as next spring. Lily's eyes widened in delight. That's fantastic, Margaret. Imagine how many people we could involve. A garden could be a beautiful addition to the community and a place for all our dreams to grow. Annie clasped her hands together, her imagination running wild with the possibilities. We could have storytelling sessions in the garden. Picture it. A circle of chairs under the blooming trees surrounded by flowers and everyone sharing their stories. As the group buzzed with ideas, Clara felt a warmth spread through her, igniting a newfound determination. With her friends by her side, she could finally share her stories, cultivate her dreams, and help others do the same. The rainy day bakery, with its cozy atmosphere, transformed into a hub of creativity and connection, promising to nurture the dreams of its patrons, one story at a time. And as the last of the rain fell, a rainbow began to form in the sky, a symbol of hope, possibilities, and the beauty of what was yet to come. As the rain drizzled gently against the windows of the rainy day bakery, Clara sat at her usual corner table, a steaming cup of chamomile tea cradled in her hands. The atmosphere was alive with chatter, laughter, and the comforting scent of freshly baked scones. Today, Clara felt a spark of excitement that hadn't been there before, fueled by the warmth of her friends' encouragement and the vibrant discussions from the previous gathering. Clara, do you have your camera with you today? Lily called from behind the counter, her apron dusted with flour. We could use a few more photos for our social media page, and I know you have a knack for capturing the magic of this place. Blushing slightly, Clara nodded, reaching into her bag and pulling out her vintage camera. I'd love to, she replied, her voice steadier than she felt. She had spent the last week practicing her photography skills, trying to find her unique style, and the idea of showcasing the bakery through her lens thrilled her. Oliver approached, Benny trotting beside him, his tail wagging with uncontainable enthusiasm. What's happening, Clara? Are you going to take pictures of our dreams? He joked, a twinkle in his eye. Because I'm telling you, my dream of becoming a pancake chef could use a good photo. Maybe we can set up a pancake making day and celebrate your dream, Oliver. Annie chimed in, her eyes sparkling with ideas. We could have a contest. Everyone could bring their signature dish and we could vote on the best one. Margaret, who had been quietly sketching plans for the community garden, looked up with interest. That sounds wonderful. We could use the contest as a fundraiser for the garden supplies. A culinary celebration could bring the whole community together. Clara felt the energy in the air shift as everyone began bouncing ideas off one another. It was infectious, the way their dreams intertwined like vines in a garden. She lifted her camera, capturing the lively scene in front of her. The laughter, the smiles, the sparks of inspiration flying from one person to the next. As the conversation flowed, Mrs. Henderson, seated in her favorite armchair with a cozy blanket draped over her legs, cleared her throat to capture the group's attention. You know, she began, her voice warm but tinged with a hint of nostalgia. When I was your age, I dreamed of opening a little bookstore. I had all these ideas for storytelling nights and poetry readings. But life took me down a different path. She paused, a soft smile forming on her lips. Seeing all of you support one another brings back those dreams I let slip away. You remind me that it's never too late to nurture our aspirations. Clara felt a swell of emotion as she listened. What if we held a storytelling night here in the bakery, Mrs. Henderson, she suggested. You could share your stories and we could invite others to do the same. It could be a celebration of all kinds of dreams, Mrs. Henderson's eyes lit up. Oh dear, I would love that. I have so many tales to tell, and I would be honored to hear the stories of others. It's important to keep dreams alive, isn't it? The group agreed, and soon they were buzzing with plans for the upcoming storytelling night. Clara felt a newfound confidence blossom within her. She was no longer just a shy photographer. She was part of something bigger, a community bursting with creativity and camaraderie. As the rain began to subside outside, Clara decided to step out for a moment. She wanted to capture the beauty of the world beyond the bakery, the way the raindrops clung to the leaves and how the sun began to peek through the clouds. She raised her camera, snapping a few photos, letting the tranquil scene fill her with inspiration. When she returned to the bakery, her heart felt lighter, and she was eager to share her findings. You won't believe how beautiful it looks outside. The raindrops sparkle like diamonds on the grass. Let's see, Oliver exclaimed, and Clara shared the images she had captured, filling the bakery with gasps of admiration. With each photo, she felt herself stepping further into her role as a photographer, her passion ignited by the support of her friends. In that moment, Clara realized that dreams, no matter how small or far-fetched, could take root and flourish when nurtured by a community that believed in each other. And as they gathered to share their dreams and stories, the seeds of hope were planted, ready to bloom into something beautiful. As the rain pattered gently against the windows of the rainy day bakery, Clara felt a familiar flutter of excitement in her stomach. The group had gathered for their first Story Saturday, each member clutching their notebooks, pens poised, and a hint of nervous energy in the air. Let's not forget the snacks, Oliver announced, bouncing in place. He had spent the morning whipping up a fresh batch of blueberry pancakes, the sweet aroma wafting through the bakery, mingling with the scent of coffee and pastries. Pancakes always spark creativity, right? Only if they're shaped like animals, Lily chimed in, giggling as she imagined a plate of pancake elephants and bears. Mrs. Henderson, seated at her usual spot with a steaming cup of chamomile tea, nodded thoughtfully. Food has a way of bringing people together. Just like stories. Her eyes twinkled with warmth. I remember a storytelling evening we held in our neighborhood. It was magical. Let's make this magical too, Annie exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. She had brought a basket filled with colorful bookmarks, each adorned with inspiring quotes about storytelling. Everyone gets one to keep as a reminder of why we're here. Clara took a deep breath, her heart racing. This was her moment. With the support of her friends, she felt emboldened to share her own story. Okay, everyone. Let's start by sharing what we've written or any ideas we have for future events. As Clara spoke, she could see eyes lighting up around the table. She gestured to Lily, who eagerly jumped in. I've been working on a story about a girl who discovers a hidden talent for painting through a community art project. It's about how friendships can bloom in unexpected places. Margaret chimed in next, her voice animated. And I've been dreaming about what our community garden might look like. I want to write a piece about the journey of planting seeds and watching them grow, not just in the garden, but in our lives. As each friend shared their dreams and ideas, Clara felt her confidence swell. They were all weaving their hopes and aspirations together, creating a tapestry of stories that reflected their lives. It was beautiful. Finally, it was Clara's turn. I've taken some photographs of our bakery and the rain outside, she began, her voice trembling slightly but steadying as she continued. I thought I could create a photo essay that tells the story of a rainy day, capturing the warmth of this place and the people in it. The group erupted in applause, their cheers echoing off the bakery walls. Clara felt a rush of gratitude as she glanced around at her friends' encouraging smiles. I can help with that, Oliver piped up. Let's make it a visual feast. We could even host an exhibition here at the bakery to showcase your work along with our stories. Oh, that would be incredible, Annie exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. Imagine the community coming together to celebrate all our talents, Mrs. Henderson added, and we can invite those who have inspired us along the way. Perhaps I can share some of my own stories from years past. It would be wonderful to bridge the generations. As the evening unfolded, the group brainstormed ideas for their exhibition, every suggestion sparking new enthusiasm. They discussed themes, decorations, and how to invite the broader community to join them in their celebration of creativity. In the midst of their planning, a sudden clap of thunder rumbled outside, causing everyone to pause. Clara glanced out the window, watching the raindrops dance against the glass. You know, she said softly, rain brings life, just like our stories can bring life to our dreams. Exactly, Lily said, her eyes glinting with determination. And just like a rainbow follows the rain, we're creating something beautiful together. With renewed vigor, the group forged ahead with their plans, each word and idea driving them closer to their dreams. Clara felt a warmth spread through her heart, knowing that she was no longer alone in her journey. Together they were cultivating not just stories, but lasting friendships and a flourishing community. As they wrapped up their first Story Saturday, Clara felt a sense of hope envelop her like a cozy blanket. She glanced around at her friends, the laughter and joy that filled the bakery, and smiled. The magic of storytelling had begun, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead them next. As the soft patter of rain continued to serenade the cozy rainy day bakery, Clara adjusted the strap of her camera, excitedly capturing the lively interactions between her friends. The bakery was filled with the warm scent of freshly baked goods, and the gentle hum of chatter seemed to dance alongside the raindrops outside. Clara had spent the past week contemplating her photo essay. With each click of the shutter, she sought not only to document the bakery's charm, but also to encapsulate the essence of their dreams and aspirations. Today, she felt inspired, and as she watched Oliver enthusiastically sketch out pancake designs on a napkin, she felt a surge of energy. "Okay, everyone," Oliver announced, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "I've been brainstorming ideas for the pancake-making contest. What if we themed it around our dreams? Like, my dream pancake could be a stack of fluffy clouds with blueberry raindrops," Lily giggled, twirling a strand of her hair. "That sounds delicious. But what if we had a pancake shaped like a camera, Clara?" "You could make that your signature dish." Clara blushed, her heart racing with the thought of actually being part of the contest. I could try," she said hesitantly, but the encouragement in her friend's smiles made her feel bolder. "That's the spirit," Annie chimed in, clapping her hands together. "We should also add a storytelling component to the contest. Each contestant can share a little story about their pancake inspiration before the judging begins." "Perfect," Margaret said, her eyes lighting up with the idea. "And we could set up a little corner for my plants, creating a cozy atmosphere. It could be like a mini garden party." Mrs. Henderson, who had been quietly sipping her tea in the corner, leaned forward with a twinkle in her eye. "You know, when I wanted to open my bookstore, I envisioned it as a place where stories could grow like plants, nurtured by the community. This pancake contest could be the first of many events that spread that idea." As the group brainstormed, Clara's camera clicked rhythmically, capturing the laughter, the sketches, and the burgeoning excitement in the bakery. She felt her confidence swell. The thought of presenting her photos at the community exhibition felt closer than ever. Just then the door swung open, and a gust of rain-soaked wind ushered in a newcomer. A tall figure stepped inside, shaking droplets from their umbrella. It was a young woman, drenched but radiant, her curly hair framing her face like a halo. "Hi there," she called out, her voice warm and inviting. "I'm new to town and heard there's a creative community here. Mind if I join?" "Oh, absolutely." "Come in," Oliver exclaimed, gesturing toward a vacant chair. "We're just planning a pancake contest, and we'd love to hear your dreams." The newcomer grinned, shaking off her umbrella. "I'm Mia, and I've always dreamed of being a baker. I make a mean chocolate soufflé. I'd love to join your contest." Everyone welcomed her with open arms, and as the conversations flowed, Clara felt a spark of inspiration ignite within her. Mia's passion for baking reminded her of why she loved photography so much. It was about capturing the essence of what people loved and shared. As the rain continued to fall outside, the bakery filled with stories of dreams and laughter, weaving a tapestry of hope and creativity. Clara decided then and there to include Mia and her journey in the photo essay. Inspired by her new friend's confidence, Clara found herself taking more candid shots of the group, capturing the raw emotions and excitement bubbling in the air. With the planning underway and their community growing, Clara knew this was just the beginning. The bakery, linked by the dreams of its patrons, was becoming a vibrant hub of creativity and friendship, and she was eager to see where it would lead them next. As the soft rain continued to patter against the windows of the rainy day bakery, Clara sat at her usual spot near the fireplace, her camera resting on the table beside her. The warm glow of the bakery's lights illuminated her friends, who were scattered around the large wooden table, their faces lit with enthusiasm and creativity. "Okay, everyone," Lily said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "What are we thinking for the pancake contest?" "We need ideas that reflect our stories." "I want to make my pancakes look like flowers for the garden theme," Margaret chimed in, sketching a quick design in her notebook. "They'll be colorful and have edible petals." "That's brilliant, Margaret," Annie exclaimed, her hands waving animatedly. "I can already picture them." "But what about pancakes that tell a story? Like, each layer could represent a chapter of a tale." "I love that," Oliver said, leaning forward. "We could make a tall stack of pancakes, each layer a different flavor, representing different moods." "Think of how you could photograph that, Clara." Clara smiled, feeling a rush of excitement and inspiration at the thought of capturing such a colorful, layered creation. "That would be amazing. I can imagine the vibrant colors and textures. Plus, I'll make sure to include the stories behind the flavors in my photo essay." Mia, who had been quietly listening, chimed in with a thoughtful expression. "What if we also included a pancake of the day that reflects the spirit of Rainy Day Bakery? Each week we could have something different inspired by our favorite stories or memories here." The group fell silent for a moment, considering Mia's idea. Clara felt a warm sense of camaraderie swell within her. This was the magic of their friendship, a tapestry of dreams woven together. "Let's do it," Lily declared, her voice filled with determination. "We can brainstorm a new flavor each week leading up to the contest. And we can document the process." "Clara, your photos could capture our trials and triumphs and turn into a mini exhibition of our journey." "Speaking of journeys, Mrs. Henderson interjected gently from behind the counter, where she was arranging a fresh batch of blueberry muffins. "What about inviting the community to share their stories too? Perhaps we could host a story and pancake evening where everyone brings their own pancake creation and shares a little story about it." The idea hung in the air, rich with possibility. Clara's heart raced. That would be wonderful. It would bring even more people into the fold and make the contest feel like a celebration of our bakery and our stories. "Let's do it," Oliver echoed, his enthusiasm infectious. "We can even create a special photo booth area with fun props, so everyone can take their pictures and share their stories on social media." As the group continued brainstorming, Clara's mind raced with ideas, her camera now a source of inspiration rather than just a tool. She envisioned capturing the smiles, the laughter, and the shared creativity of the community. Suddenly the door to the bakery swung open, and a gust of fresh air swept in, bringing with it a tall figure cloaked in a bright yellow raincoat. The newcomer shook off droplets of water like a dog before stepping inside, revealing a cheerful face framed by curly hair. "Hey there." "I'm Leo. Just moved to town," he announced, his voice buoyant amidst the soft chatter of the bakery. "I heard this place was the heart of the community." "Are you all planning something exciting?" Clara exchanged glances with her friends, who were equally intrigued by the newcomer. "We're just brainstorming our upcoming pancake contest and community storytelling evening," Clara explained, feeling the warmth of inclusion radiate from the group. "Pancakes and stories? Count me in," Leo grinned, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I've got a few tales of my own to share, plus I make a mean chocolate chip pancake." As laughter filled the bakery once again, Clara felt her heart swell with joy. With each new idea and story shared, the bonds of friendship grew stronger, and the cozy atmosphere of the Rainy Day Bakery became even more vibrant, echoing with the promise of creativity, connection, and the magic that could unfold on their journey together. As the rain drummed softly against the windows of the rainy day bakery, Clara adjusted her camera, capturing the light filtering through the condensation. Today was the day they would finalize the details for the story and pancake evening, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Clara glanced around the table where the group was gathered, their faces lit with enthusiasm. Oliver was animatedly sketching out a plan on a napkin, his brow furrowed in concentration. What if we have a pancake dream wall where everyone can pin the stories behind their creations? It would be like a living tapestry of our community, he suggested, bouncing slightly in his seat. I love that idea, Mia chimed in, her eyes sparkling, and we could use colorful strings to connect the stories to the pancakes on display. It would be so visual and interactive. Lily nodded vigorously, her curls bouncing in agreement, like a web of dreams. Each string could represent a different flavor or story, and we could even have a prize for the most creative combination. Annie, who had been quietly sipping a cup of herbal tea, smiled and added, "And we could have a storytelling session in between the pancake tasting. It would give people a chance to share their inspirations and connect with one another." "Great idea, Annie," Margaret said, her eyes lighting up. We could even incorporate plants that symbolize different stories. Imagine having a little potted herb for each tale shared, creating an atmosphere that feels alive. As the ideas flourished, Mrs. Henderson emerged from the kitchen, her apron dusted with flour and a warm smile on her face. "What's all this excitement about?" she asked, leaning against the counter. "Mrs. Henderson, we're planning our story and pancake evening," Clara exclaimed, her voice bubbling with energy. "We want everyone in the community to bring their stories and pancakes, and we were thinking of creating a dream wall." Mrs. Henderson clapped her hands together, her eyes twinkling. "Oh, that sounds marvelous. I can already picture the bakery filled with laughter and storytelling. How about we set up a cozy corner with fairy lights and cushions for the storytelling sessions?" Just then, as if the universe conspired to add more magic to the occasion, Leo burst through the door, shaking off droplets from his rain-soaked coat. "Sorry I'm late. I was helping my neighbor with her garden and lost track of time." "What's this about a pancake contest?" Clara beamed at him. "Perfect timing, Leo. We're brainstorming ideas for our story and pancake evening. We want it to be a celebration of creativity and community." "Count me in," Leo grinned, his excitement infectious. "I have a few recipes up my sleeve that are a mix of traditional and unexpected flavors." "How about a blueberry lavender pancake? It's floral and sweet, with a hint of nostalgia." "Delicious!" Lily clapped her hands together. "Each pancake can tell a story, just like the ones we'll be sharing." As the group continued to brainstorm, the sound of rain outside became a comforting backdrop to their vibrant conversation. Clara adjusted her camera once more, capturing the essence of this moment. A group of friends, each with their unique dreams and aspirations, coming together to spark joy and connection in their community. Later that evening, as the last rays of daylight faded and the bakery was illuminated by the soft glow of fairy lights, a sense of purpose filled the air. Clara could feel the excitement building as the group prepared for their event, and she was determined to document every moment. With the story and pancake evening just around the corner, a new adventure was about to unfold, one that promised to weave together the fabric of their community through laughter, creativity, and the delightful aroma of pancakes. and Clara was ready to capture it all. As the rain gently pelted against the windows of the rainy day bakery, Clara adjusted her camera settings, capturing the soft glow of the warm lights that danced across the room. The air was thick with the sweet aroma of baking batter, mingled with the faint hint of floral essence from Margaret's latest pancake experiment. Today was a day for creativity, and Clara was ready to document every moment. "All right, everyone," Lily clapped her hands to gather the group's attention, her enthusiasm bubbling over. "We've got 1 week until the contest. Let's finalize our themes and get started on our pancake recipes." Leo, seated at the corner table, leaned forward, his eyes sparkling with inspiration. "How about we each create a pancake that represents a different season? Each one could tell a story about the emotions tied to that season, like a summer pancake that's bright and fruity for joy, or a winter pancake that's rich and warm for nostalgia." "That's brilliant, Leo," Annie exclaimed, her hands animatedly gesturing as she spoke. "We could even pair each pancake with a short story or poem. It would add depth to the contest and give everyone something to connect with." Clara's heart soared at the idea. She could already envision capturing each seasonal pancake and the stories behind them through her lens. There was something magical about intertwining food with personal narratives, an expression of culture and emotion all on one plate. Margaret, who had been quietly sketching in her notebook, piped up, "And for spring we could incorporate edible flowers. I want to create a pancake that looks like a blooming garden. It would be a feast for the eyes as well as the taste buds." "Perfect," Lily nodded. "And for autumn, we could do a spiced pancake with caramel apples. It would evoke those cozy, crisp days." "Clara, you've got to capture the colors of that one." Clara grinned as she envisioned the rich amber tones of the autumn pancake contrasting beautifully against the backdrop of the bakery. The ideas were spilling forth and the energy in the room was palpable. With enthusiasm bubbling, they ventured into the kitchen to start experimenting. Flour dusted the countertops like fresh snow, and laughter rang out as they swapped stories while whisking batter. Suddenly the door swung open and the bell above jingled, announcing the arrival of a few community members. Mrs. Henderson beamed as she welcomed them in, her apron dusted with flour from her own baking exploits. "Just in time to see the magic happen," she said, gesturing them inside. "Why not join us? We could use some extra hands and taste testers too." The newcomers, an elderly couple named Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, exchanged curious glances but smiled warmly. "We'd love to help, Mr. Thompson replied. "It's been ages since we've flipped a pancake." As the group welcomed them, Clara caught the gleam in Mrs. Thompson's eye. "You know," she said with a twinkle, "I have a recipe for a pancake that tells a story all on its own. It's my late mother's secret recipe. Every time I make it, I remember her laughter and the stories she used to tell me." The room fell silent as everyone leaned in, eager to hear more. "Perhaps we could feature a community story pancake as part of our contest," Clara suggested, her heart racing with excitement. "Each participant could submit their own story pancake and we could highlight them during the event." Lily clapped her hands together, her eyes sparkling. "That's an incredible idea, Clara. Let's encourage everyone to share their stories, their memories, and their unique pancake creations." With the plans solidifying, Clara felt a rush of gratitude for this gathering. A community of hearts intertwined through food and shared experiences. As the rain continued to fall outside, inside the bakery, warmth filled the air, and the promise of connection shimmered brightly, ready to unfold during their story and pancake evening. And as Clara raised her camera once more, she captured the moment, a snapshot of friendship, creativity, and the sweet anticipation of stories waiting to be told. As the soft chime of the bakery door announced the arrival of yet another customer, the group gathered around their cluttered table, now littered with sketches, recipe notes, and an array of colorful markers. The excitement was palpable, and Mrs. Henderson buzzed around, making sure everyone was comfortable, her apron dusted with flour. "All right, team. Let's bring our ideas to life," she encouraged, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Clara, with her camera slung around her neck, adjusted her position to capture the animated discussions. "Let's not forget to document every moment," she reminded the group with a smile. Oliver, leaning back in his chair, tapped his chin thoughtfully. "What if we turn the pancake themes into a journey? Each pancake could represent a different chapter of a story, and we could have the community write their own stories on the dream wall as they go along." Mia's eyes lit up at the thought. "Yes, we could create a story map on the wall. Each pancake would have a designated spot where people can pin their stories, connecting them to the flavors they feel represent their tale." Annie, who had been quietly sketching in her notebook, raised her hand tentatively. "And we could incorporate storytelling sessions throughout the evening. Maybe a few volunteers could share their stories while we flip the pancakes." "Brilliant, Annie," Lily exclaimed, bouncing in her seat. "We could even set up a cozy storytelling corner with cushions and fairy lights where people can gather as they share their tales." Margaret, who had been collecting plants from her garden to decorate the space, chimed in. "We can use the plants to symbolize the different stories too. Each type of plant can represent a theme, like resilience, love, or adventure, tying back to the stories shared." As they tossed ideas back and forth, Leo finally joined the conversation, his presence adding a fresh burst of creativity. "How about each pancake has a unique ingredient inspired by the story it represents? For example, a first love pancake could have sweet strawberries, while a journey pancake could include exotic spices." Mrs. Henderson clapped her hands together, her voice brimming with excitement. "I love it. We could also invite Mr. and Mrs. Thompson to share their own recipes and stories. They have such a rich history in this town." Just then the door swung open again, and in walked Mr. Thompson, his hat slightly askew and a small basket in hand. "Did someone mention recipes?" he called out, a twinkle in his eye. "I brought a few of my favorites." The group erupted into laughter, welcoming him warmly. As he set the basket on the table, Clara zoomed in with her camera, capturing the jovial scene. Moments later, as the ideas continued to flow, Mrs. Henderson suggested they organize a pancake creation contest during the event, where participants could present their own pancake stories. The thrill of competition added an extra layer of excitement to the evening. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue through the bakery's windows, Clara stepped back, taking in the heartwarming scene of collaboration and creativity. The cozy atmosphere buzzed with energy, and she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. "Let's make this a night to remember," Clara said, her voice filled with hope. "Together, we will create something beautiful," Oliver replied, raising his cup of coffee in a toast. As the group clinked their mugs in agreement, the promise of connection through stories and pancakes hung in the air, weaving threads of community spirit that would surely last long after the last pancake was flipped. As the golden morning light streamed through the bakery's windows, illuminating the flour-dusted countertops, the excitement in the rainy day bakery reached a crescendo. Clara adjusted her camera, poised to capture every moment of inspiration. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sweet scent of melting butter as the group huddled around a long wooden table, overflowing with colorful recipe cards and vibrant ingredients. "All right, everyone," Lily clapped her hands together, her enthusiasm almost palpable. "We're just a week away from the contest and we need to finalize our themes. Remember, we want to incorporate personal stories into our pancake creations. I have an idea." Annie's eyes sparkled as she leaned in closer. "What if we invite each participant to pair their pancake with a short story, something that connects their recipe to their life or a cherished memory?" The group nodded in agreement, and Margaret, who had been quietly sketching floral designs on a notepad, chimed in, "I love that. Pancakes with history. I could create a lavender-infused pancake inspired by the summer picnics my grandmother used to host. The flowers will add a whimsical touch." "Speaking of whimsical," Leo interjected, "how about a seasons of life theme? Each pancake could represent a different season and the stories that come with them." He gestured animatedly, envisioning stacks of pancakes embellished with seasonal fruits and flavors. "That's brilliant," Lily agreed, her voice rising with excitement. "Let's make sure to collect everyone's stories too. We can display them on our dream wall." Just then, Mrs. Henderson, who had been quietly listening, offered a gentle smile. "You know, my late husband used to say that food is the best way to tell a story. We should set up a recipe swap table where people can share their family recipes along with the stories behind them." "The more the merrier," inspired by Mrs. Henderson's suggestion. Clara quickly snapped a photo of the gathering, capturing the infectious energy in the air. "I can create a photo book of the recipes and stories for everyone to take home after the contest. It would be a lovely keepsake of our community's creativity." As they bounced ideas back and forth, the sound of the bakery door creaking open interrupted their brainstorming session. The Thompson couple, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, entered, carrying a vintage wooden crate filled with jars of homemade preserves. "Good morning, everyone," Thompson called out, his voice hearty and warm. "We thought we'd bring some of our famous peach and strawberry preserves for everyone to try. They might just inspire a few pancake toppings." "Oh, those are my favorites," Annie exclaimed, rushing over to help them set the jars on the table. "I can already imagine a fluffy pancake topped with sweet peach preserves and a sprinkle of powdered sugar." As the group gathered around the table to sample the preserves, Mrs. Thompson shared stories of how she and her husband had spent countless summers harvesting fruit from their orchard, each batch of preserves holding memories of laughter and sun-soaked days. Suddenly, Clara's camera flickered with inspiration. "What if we also have a memory lane corner? Participants can submit their cherished food memories and the recipes they've prepared over the years. We can create a gallery of memories alongside our pancake creations." The room erupted in applause and the excitement grew. They began jotting down ideas for their memory lane display, each suggestion woven with the essence of community. As the brainstorming session continued, Clara's heart swelled with warmth. She captured each moment with her camera, knowing that these connections would not only make the contest memorable, but also strengthen the bonds that held their little community together. But as the sun dipped lower in the sky, Casting a golden hue across the bakery, Clara noticed a shadow of uncertainty flicker across Margaret's face. The quiet participant had been unusually silent since the brainstorming began. With a gentle nudge, Clara approached her. "Margaret, is everything okay?" she asked softly, concerned. Margaret looked up, her eyes glistening. "I've been thinking a lot about my story," she started hesitantly. "I want my pancakes to reflect my family's journey, but I've never shared it with anyone. What if no one wants to hear it?" Clara smiled warmly, understanding the weight of vulnerability. "Every story matters, Margaret. Your journey is unique and it could inspire others. We're here to support you, and I know everyone will want to hear what you have to say." Taking a deep breath, Margaret nodded slowly, a flicker of determination igniting in her expression. "Okay. I think I'm ready." As the group buzzed with excitement, the stage was being set for a pancake contest like no other, one that would blend flavors, stories, and community spirit into a tapestry of shared experiences. And as Clara continued to capture the magic unfolding in the bakery, she couldn't help but feel that this contest would not just celebrate pancakes, but also the heartwarming stories that made their community truly special. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue through the bakery's windows, the rainy day bakery buzzed with renewed energy. Clara adjusted her camera, capturing the laughter and animated discussions swirling around the table. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the sweet scent of pancakes, creating an inviting ambiance that felt like a warm embrace. "Okay, team. Let's finalize our ideas for the pancake contest before we start our individual stories," Lily said, her voice bright and unwavering. She stood at the head of the table, surrounded by colorful sketches and notes. "We have the cozy storytelling corner, the themed pancake designs, and the memory lane display. What else can we add?" "I think we should include a family recipe wall," Annie suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Everyone could pin up their favorite pancake recipes along with a short story about why they're special. "It's a perfect way to honor our heritage." "Yes," Leo chimed in, his animated gestures punctuating his excitement. "And I can create a pancake theme inspired by the stories. Like, if someone shares a memory of Sunday breakfasts, I could make a Sunday morning stack with maple syrup and bacon bits." Margaret sat quietly, her fingers tracing the rim of her coffee cup. She listened intently, her heart racing at the thought of sharing her own family's pancake tale. Clara noticed her hesitation and leaned closer. "Margaret, why don't you tell us about your family recipe? I know it means a lot to you," she gently encouraged. Margaret looked up, a shy smile breaking through her nervousness. "Well, my grandmother used to make blueberry pancakes every Sunday. She'd tell us stories about how the blueberries were picked from the bushes in our backyard. I remember her saying that those pancakes had magic because they were made with love and laughter." "Beautiful," Mrs. Henderson chimed in from the corner, her eyes glistening with warmth. "There's something truly special about recipes passed down through generations. It connects us to our roots." Just then Mr. and Mrs. Thompson walked in, their arms laden with jars of homemade preserves. "Look what we brought, Mrs. Thompson exclaimed, setting the jars down on the table. "Cherry, peach, and my personal favorite, a tangy lemon lavender preserve." The group erupted in a chorus of excitement, and Clara quickly captured the moment. "These will be perfect for our pancake contest. We can even have a tasting station where people can pair their pancakes with your preserves," she suggested, her creative wheels already turning. Speaking of tasting, Mr. Thompson interjected with a twinkle in his eye, how about we have a pancake challenge, where participants can choose a preserve and create a unique pancake dish to match? It could become a fun competition. The group's eyes lit up, their imaginations igniting. Lily clapped her hands together. That's it. Let's create a mini competition with fun prizes. We can even have a local celebrity judge to taste all the pancake creations. As ideas bounced around the table, Margaret felt a rush of inspiration. Maybe she could combine her grandmother's recipe with local blueberries from the market and create a dish that honored her family's tradition while also embracing the community spirit. With newfound determination, she raised her hand, her voice steadying. I would like to share my family's blueberry pancake recipe at the contest. I want to tell everyone about my grandmother and how those pancakes shaped my childhood. Cheers erupted around the table, and Clara's heart swelled with pride for her friend. That's the spirit, Margaret. We're all here to support each other, and your story will resonate with so many people. The group continued their brainstorming, laughter filling the air as they refined their ideas and made plans for the upcoming contest. The walls of the Rainy Day Bakery felt alive with stories waiting to be shared, and in that moment the cozy haven transformed into a tapestry of community, creativity, and heartfelt connections. Little did they know, the evening held unexpected surprises that would further intertwine their stories, binding them together in ways they had yet to imagine. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a golden hue through the Rainy Day Bakery's windows, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Lily stood at the head of the table, her enthusiasm infectious. Okay, everyone. Let's finalize our plans for the pancake contest and make it a day to remember. Clara, with her camera poised, caught the joyful expressions of her friends, each one reflecting the warmth of the moment. I think we should also include a prize for the best storyteller. After all, the personal stories behind the recipes are what make them special, she suggested, her eyes sparkling with inspiration. Annie bounced in her chair, a flurry of ideas overflowing. What if we have a pancake story slam where people can share their stories while flipping pancakes? It could be like a mini talent show. Margaret, now feeling more at ease, added, and we could create a special People's Choice Award where everyone votes for their favorite dish and story. It would encourage everyone to participate. The group nodded in agreement, their enthusiasm building like a perfectly risen pancake. Even Mrs. Henderson, who had been quietly listening, leaned in with a twinkling smile. I could share my grandmother's secret apple pancake recipe, along with her tale of how she used to make them for family gatherings. It always brings everyone together. Speaking of bringing everyone together, Leo said, a mischievous glint in his eye, we could also have a pancake art competition. Everyone can create unique pancake designs and we can have a gallery showcase. I can already imagine a pancake shaped like a fluffy cat. The laughter that erupted filled the bakery, and Clara snapped a candid shot of the moment. I love it. Pancake cats, storytelling, and a recipe swap table. It's going to be the best event ever. As they continued to brainstorm, the door chimed, and an unfamiliar face stepped inside. It was a young woman with a vibrant scarf wrapped around her neck and bags filled with ingredients. "Excuse me," she said, her voice warm but slightly hesitant. "I heard about the pancake contest from a friend. I'm Sophia, and I'd love to participate." Lily smiled, her welcoming nature shining through. Of course, the more the merrier. What do you have in mind? Sophia's eyes lit up as she rummaged through her bags, revealing jars of colorful fruit compote and a small notebook filled with handwritten recipes. I've got a family recipe for spiced cinnamon pancakes, and my grandmother used to make a berry compote that was the highlight of every Sunday breakfast. I'd love to share it. The group erupted in welcoming cheers, and Clara instinctively raised her camera again, capturing this new spark of connection. As they gathered around Sophia, eager to hear her story, Margaret felt a flicker of inspiration ignite within her. Perhaps sharing her story was just the beginning. Maybe I could share the story behind my blueberry pancakes too, she said, her voice steadier now. It's a bit of a journey, but I think everyone would enjoy it. Lily clapped her hands, her excitement palpable. That's the spirit, Margaret. We're all here to support one another. Let's keep this energy going. As the brainstorming session flowed into the night, ideas bounced around like pancake batter on a hot griddle. Plans were made for decorations, music, and even an invitation list for the whole community. The bakery transformed into a hub of creativity, laughter, and shared stories, each person contributing a piece of their heart to the upcoming contest. In that cozy corner of the rainy day bakery, as stories intertwined and recipes mingled, a sense of belonging blossomed, reminding everyone that the sweetest moments often come from the simplest acts of sharing and connection. As the sunlight streamed through the wide windows of the rainy day bakery, Clara adjusted her camera, capturing the vibrant energy of the group as they gathered around a large wooden table. The walls, adorned with colorful photographs of pancakes and smiling faces, created a heartwarming backdrop to their lively discussions. All right, team. Lily clapped her hands together, her enthusiasm contagious. Today we need to nail down the details for our pancake contest. So many ideas are floating around, but let's pick a few that really stand out. I think we should definitely incorporate the storytelling element, Annie suggested, her voice brimming with excitement. What if we have a segment where everyone shares the story behind their family recipe right before the judging starts? Yes. That way, each pancake has a story, and the judges get to taste not just flavors, but also the memories. Margaret chimed in, her shyness melting away in the warmth of the group's encouragement. Just then, Sophia piped in, her eyes sparkling with creativity. And what if we create a pancake passport for each contestant? It could include their recipe, their family story, and a little space for judges to write comments. It would be a great keepsake. Brilliant, Leo exclaimed, already sketching out ideas for the passport's design on a napkin. We can make it look like an actual passport with stamps for each category of pancakes. I can even create illustrations for each recipe. As the suggestions flew around the table, Clara snapped candid moments of the group deep in conversation, their laughter punctuating the air like the sweet scent of syrup wafting from the kitchen. Mrs. Henderson, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke up, her voice warm and rich like the maple syrup they all adored. You know, dear ones, the best memories often come from the simplest ingredients. I think we should have a secret ingredient round. Each contestant can add a surprise element to their pancakes, something that reflects their family heritage. It could be a special spice or a unique topping that tells a story of its own. Oh, I love that idea, Lily nodded enthusiastically. It adds an element of surprise and creativity to the contest. As discussions continued, Margaret's eyes wandered to the corner of the bakery where the family recipe wall had begun to take shape. A few recipes were already pinned up, each accompanied by a photograph and a brief story. She felt a surge of pride for sharing her grandmother's recipe, and a sense of belonging began to blossom within her. With the sun dipping lower in the sky, casting a golden glow through the windows, a new voice interrupted their planning. "Excuse me, is this the pancake contest meeting?" A petite woman with curly hair and a lively demeanor entered the bakery, her arms laden with a basket of ingredients. "Absolutely," Lily welcomed her with open arms. "I'm Lily, and we're just finalizing our plans for the contest." "I'm Maya," the newcomer replied, her smile brightening the room. "I heard about the event and I couldn't resist participating. I brought my grandmother's chocolate chip pancake mix. It's an old family recipe, and I think it's got a special twist you all might enjoy." "Welcome, Maya," Sophia exclaimed, immediately taking an interest. "We were just discussing how to incorporate family stories into the contest. Do you want to share yours?" As Maya settled into the group, she began to share her tale of how her grandmother had created the recipe during a rainy afternoon, just like this one. The room filled with laughter and warmth, each person leaning in closer to hear her words. Suddenly, Clara felt inspired. She raised her camera and captured the moment, a gathering of hearts, all intertwined through stories and recipes. In that instant, she knew that the contest would be more than just a culinary competition. It was a celebration of community, love, and the beautiful tapestry of their lives. As the chatter continued, ideas blossomed and the scent of fresh coffee mingled with the sweet anticipation of pancakes. The Rainy Day Bakery wasn't just a place to gather. It was becoming a sanctuary of memories where every pancake flipped would carry a story, a legacy, and the promise of new connections yet to be made.